Good morning, Econ. How are we doing out there on a fine Wednesday morning? We're midweek already, which is pretty exciting, I must say. Starting to get a little colder outside, a little bit. People, you gotta check this out. You really need to check it out, but look what I did in my hands yesterday. I had to rake a lot of leaves. Look at the blisters. Right, crazy. But yes, the warm weather looks like it is behind us. But what is going on here? Econ. What's going on? 4th hour. You guys are here to learn about supply. We've learned about demand. We spent 2 days on demand. It'll only take 1 day to conquer supply. Let me fix this real quick. And then tomorrow, right, we're going to be able to put both supply and demand together to start analyzing, you know, if there's a change to a market, right? What's ultimately going to happen to the price of the good or service and the quantity of that good or service, which is going to be pretty exciting. I love when we have supply and demand both done, and then we can just do a whole lot more with our markets, right? Which is pretty cool. And then Friday, we'll learn about double shifting for a little bit. That'll pretty. Fridays are usually a little bit more light of days, right? So that'll be, you know, a good, 10-15 minutes, and I'll give you guys the rest of the hour to complete that problem set, and then it'll be the weekend. You guys all here? How we doing, people? How we doing out there? How we doing? A couple reminders. Problem set 1.2 is due tonight, right? That is your first assignment here in the second rotation, right? Make sure you guys complete that, turn it in. If you do not, understand parts of problem set 1.2, make sure you reach out to me and ask me about it in Google Classroom. And then, make sure you submit that before midnight tonight. Most of you guys have already turned that in, which is good. But don't fall behind, because what we're gonna do is I'm gonna post answer keys to these problem sets, the day after, right? It's due, right? So problem set 1.2, the answer key is gonna be posted in the morning, right? So if you turn your Your problem's sitting after the answer key, right? You know, don't expect full points there, right? That'd just not be how incentives work. Got Lexus in the house, got Mason in the house, Erwin, Caitlin. Doing pretty good, pretty tired, you know, I'm pretty tired today a little bit, but it's Wednesday, it's nice. Tomorrow's Thursday, which is my favorite day of the week, and obviously we all love Fridays, right? Michael was not good. I woke up with a lot of gas in my stomach. It hurts. Oh no, you gotta get some Tums. You gotta get some Tums. Oh no. What is going on? What is going on, people? All right, let's get to some attendance in the chat real quick. This one's an interesting one, to say the least. I do not think we've done this one yet in this rotation, but it says, what is your favorite smell in the whole world? And why? And why? It should say and why on there. You make sure you say and why. Okay? What's your favorite smell in the world and why? And why is it? Right? And why is it? There's usually some really, really interesting ones out there. Your favorite smell in the entire world. Let's see it. Let's see it, people. I would share mine, but I know you guys are going to copy mine. But I have a few. I have a few really good smells that I like. Pineapple or tropical fruit smells because they just make me happy. Yeah. Yeah, I could see pineapple being really good. Like cutting open a pineapple. That's a good one. Here we go. We got some answers rolling in here. We got a mix of flowers and apples, specifically roses and lavender. I love lavender, the smell of lavender. Because it reminds me of a really close friend that always helped me calm down. It makes me happy when I'm stressed. I like that a lot, Mike. I like that a lot. I think lavender naturally does that with like your brain. I think lavender is a calming smell. I think it's supposed to be. Mason says Disney World because it brings me back to being a kid. Ooh, the smell of Disney World, or like a theme park. I like that. That one's pretty cool. Rain. Emma says it just smells good, or the smell of my grandma's house, kind of weird, but it just smells good. Yeah, I'm with you too. Actually, more specifically, my grandma's basement had a very, very distinct smell. It really smelled good, but like I just, you know, it's nostalgic, right? It's a long time ago. My grandmother passed like, man, it has to be more than 10 years ago to this day. Yeah, rain is a good smell. I like that one a lot. Bread, because it smells nice. People have been talking about bread all the time nowadays. It's been pretty funny. Homemade bread. Yeah, bread. Yeah, but like hot bread, homemade bread when you cut it open, right? Oh man. Gavin says fresh Nikes, right? Fresh Nikes, right? I like that one. Fresh pair of shoes, always. I think a fresh pair of shoes is a popular one. The Pirates of the Caribbean ride at Disney World. Ooh. I actually know exactly what you're saying. When's the last time I've been to Disney World? I've only been there once, and I think it was when I was like a sophomore in high school, maybe. Freshman in high school. Cinnamon, because cinnamon rolls are good. Ooh, sometimes I like to put cinnamon in my coffee. Just like a little bit. It's pretty good. New car smell because it's fresh. Yeah, a lot of new smells are good. New shoes, new car. I know it sounds stupid, but I like the smell of rain. No, it's not stupid at all. Actually, it's one of the most popular ones is the smell of rain. Vanilla candles. Ooh, I like that. I like candles a lot, just in general, but vanilla smells really good. Everyone likes new shoes. Yep. Lavender because it's calming. Yep. Into the Night by Bath and Body Works because it smells kind of like a guy, but also like a girl, and it just has a strong smell, and I love that. Nice. I've had students in the past say just Bath and Body Works in general. People like the smell of that, like walking in the store. Cinnamon we got. Very good. Cinnamon's good. When it just rained because it smells like Florida. Ooh, I also love the smell of victory. Erwin, please elaborate on that. Alright, so we need a couple more of you guys. That's definitely not all of you guys. I know it's not. Get your sentence in the chat. Alright, so my favorite smells are, again, weird ones, right? Is gasoline, right? Like when you're filling up your car. Like if you can smell a little bit of gasoline, I like that a lot. I don't know why it's weird, I know. But another one of my favorite smells is a very, very old book. Right? Like an old book. don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about, like an old book in a library, like one that's like a long time ago, like the pages just smell very old. What are some other ones I probably have? I like the grandmother's house a lot. I like that a lot too. Especially Diesel. Okay. Nice. Oh, people. Here, let me show you something real quick. All right, and I'm not endorsing it. I'm just saying, like, 1 second here. People, these right here, scented markers when you were like in elementary school. Now, obviously you're not supposed to smell markers, that's not good, but like when you're a kid, right, you're drawing everywhere, right, you know, with markers, and it's getting on you. Like, the scented markers smell good. It's kind of messed up though, right? You're not supposed to smell markers, but they made them scented, right? Do they still make these nowadays? That's kind of weird. I feel like it's like a perverse incentive, you know? That's kind of weird. Garages smell good. That's a good shout as well. Like, actually, I like the smell of my garage. My garage smells like old, and I like it. I like it a lot. Also, I probably have told you guys about this before. I love the smell of this gum right here, Fruit Stripes gum. I don't know if you guys have ever had it before. It's really good. The taste is amazing, right? For like a little bit. For like, 10 seconds, and then it's like not that good, but like 10 seconds is awesome. It comes with tattoos, right? No, I'm not endorsing sniffing markers, but I mean they're scented markers, right? Like, doesn't that imply that you're supposed to smell them? I would suggest, right? I know, this gum rocks, Caitlin. It definitely rocks. Remember, I thought all markers were scented, so I snorted, that's a strong word, this one marker, and then I got a headache for hours because it wasn't meant to be sniffed. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, people, for the record, all right, Mr. Moore does not endorse sniffing markers. I'm just saying, like, when you were a kid, scented markers, right? I don't know. All right, anyway, moving on. We're moving on, people. We're moving on. Good talk. That was a good one, though. That was a good one. Favorite smells. Yeah, that gum is good. Fruit Stripes. I wonder if you can still get it. I wonder if you can still get that gum. But anyway. Alright, people. Any other announcements? I don't think so. I think we're just kind of chilling right now. Learning about supply and demand, which is not easy, people. It's not easy. So if you feel kind of lost a little bit, that's fine, right? We're going to just keep, knocking this out and battling through it, and we're going to be failing forward, or we're going to be making a lot of mistakes along the way. But it's fine, right? You guys will learn this, after repetition after repetition after repetition. Okay. All right, people. So today we're talking about supply. Hope you guys are pretty good at demand, because demand's usually pretty easy for students, like I've said, right? You guys all are consumers. You guys all buy things, right? So you know how the law of demand works. And then all those shifters of demand, right? You generally, like, if those happen in real life, you buy more or buy less, and etc. The hardest thing about demand is that difference between quantity demanded and demand, right? It's gonna be the same thing with supply as well. Oh gosh. Yeah. Erwin, I think you're right. Yeah. Like when the marker's on the paper at that point, then you can. Yeah. Anyway, moving on. All right, so people, what is supply? Well, remember this, right? Demand was the willingness and ability to buy a good. Supply is the willingness and ability to produce and sell a good, right? So now we are in the shoes of the shoes of the producer, right? We got to look at how would a producer or a seller, right, respond to a change in price? Like, what would they do? So supplies different quantities of good that are willing and able to sell / produce at different prices. So the law of supply is going to work like this. There's going to be a direct relationship between price and quantity supplied, right? Remember, there's an inverse relationship in the law of demand between price and quantity demanded, right? The law of demand states that when price goes up, people buy less things, and when price goes down, people buy more things, right? We all know that. The law of supply is the opposite of that. The law of supply is when price goes up, producers are going to produce more, and they're going to bring more to market. When price goes down, producers are going to bring less to market, and they're going to produce less. All right, that's the idea. And there's not really, you know how we look at the 3 reasons to why the law of demand occurs? The law of supply is pretty simple. There's only one reason really why the law of supply occurs. It's just profit motive. It's just profit motive, right? If price increases for a good, it signals to producers to produce more to make wider profit margins. Because if a producer's costs do not change, right, the cost of production does not change, like their labor costs and the cost of the resources, right, the factors of production we learned about in the first rotations. If those costs do not change and the price of the good goes up, right, you're going to make more and more profit. It's going to incentivize you to work longer hours, to hire more workers and buy more resources, because now you can sell your product at a higher price. You're going to make more profit. And alternatively, right, if price goes down for a good, you're going to bring less to market, because now it becomes less profitable. Your costs stay the same. Price goes down, right? It's going to get to a point where you don't want to produce that much, because every time you produce a good, you're making less and less profit, to a point where maybe price goes below your cost. And then obviously at that point, you're going to bring zero quantity to market, and you're going to go into a different industry. So that's the idea of the law of supply. Higher prices, profit-seeking firms are going to bring more to market. At lower prices, profit-seeking firms are going to bring less to market. Right? You just have to think about, if you were a producer. So we're going to put it to the test, just like we did with the law of demand. We're going to put the law of supply to test. All right. So let's run through this scenario a little bit. And obviously, I can't really pull you guys like I would in class and things like that, but so I'll kind of just do it for you. But it says you own a lawnmower and you are willing to mow lawns, right? So you own a lawnmower and you're willing to produce the service, in this case, of mowing lawns. So my question to you is, right, or myself, I guess, how many of you guys would mow a lawn if the price of a lawn mowed was $0, right? And we'll just, say, the price of a lawn mow, or the length of time it takes to mow a lawn is like an hour, right? It's like an hour, and the only cost you have to pay is the gas for the lawnmower, right? So I would imagine if the price that you would receive for mowing a lawn, if it was $0, I don't think any of you guys would probably mow a lawn, right? If the price of a lawn mowed, the service provided, is $0, you guys would not do that at all, right? You'd go work your normal jobs. You'd go work at, Taco Bell or whatever, right? You would not quit Taco Bell and go and work in this industry if it's not profitable at all, right? Now, some of us, right, are willing to mow lawns for our neighbors, right, because we're nice and things like that, but, profit-seeking firms, right? If the price is $0 for a good, no product's going to be brought to market. So if we raise the price, so say every time you mow a lawn, you receive payment of $10, right? I would imagine some of you guys might mow lawns at a price of $10, right? It takes 1 hour to do it, so really it's like $10 an hour. You got to pay a little bit for gas, so maybe it's more like $8 to $9 an hour, right? But you kind of work outside, you work at your own pace, right? Maybe it's all cash, so like you can sneak it and not pay taxes. Again, Mr. Moore's not suggesting not paying taxes, right? But I'm saying. So some of you guys would probably mow lawns, right? You know what? That's pretty close to like the wage I'm getting at my job. I'll mow lawns, right? It's pretty profitable. I'll bring that service to market, right? So maybe 15 of you guys would provide that service of mowing a lawn. And then again, as price goes up, right? If price went up to $20, right? And maybe at $20, all you guys would be like, I'll mow a lawn, right? If I get $20 an hour, just plus a little bit of cost, I'll mow lawns, right? $20 an hour is not a bad gig, for a 16, 17-year-old, student, right? That's a pretty good gig, right? So a lot of you guys would be like, you know what? At $20, I'll mow a lawn for sure. And then at a price of $50, I would guarantee you about almost every one of you guys would probably mow a lawn for $50, right? $50 an hour. I think you guys would do it. At least mow one lawn for your neighbor's lawn for $50 an hour, right? So just about every one of you. Now think about this, right? Like, this is like, yes, Mr. Moore, I'll mow a lawn. But think about this, right? If the price is $10, some of you guys would be like, yeah, I'll do it. I'll do it for $10 an hour. Like, I'll mow a lawn for $10 an hour. And then as I raise the price to $50 an hour, some of you guys would be like, you know what, Mr. Moore, at $50 an hour for mowing a lawn, I might drop out of high school, right? I might work weekends. I might work from like sun up to sun down. That's a lot of money. I'm going to be working more, right? So not only would you be more willing to like produce a service as price increases, you're going to be willing to produce more of that service, right, as price increases. You know, maybe at $10, yeah, you'd work a couple hours after school sometimes and things like that. $50 an hour, you're working all the time, right? Because it's incentive, right? It's profit motive, right? You're making $50 an hour, that's not too bad, especially your guys' age, right? I mean, that's good for me. I think $50 an hour, that's pretty insane. So that's the idea. That's the law of supply. When price increases, it's going to create an incentive to bring more and more product, you know, a good or a service to market. And obviously, if price decreases, there's less of an incentive to produce this good or service. There's going to be less brought to market. There's a direct relationship. Okay. All right. So we gotta put it on our graph here. Remember, the demand schedule is just, you know, various prices and how much are people going to be willing to able to buy. A supply schedule would be various prices, and at those prices, how much are people or producers willing and able to produce, right, and sell and bring to market. So you can notice, right, there's a direct relationship. It's the same thing as the previous, right? That's a supply schedule. So if we put it on our notes, and again, we're going to be talking about milk today, just like we did with demand the last 2 days, supply would have to go up, right? Because there's a direct relationship between what we're graphing, price and quantity, okay? Give me one moment, people. Give me one moment. I'm expecting a very, very important email. My email thing just went off. Okay, never mind. We're good. All right. So anyway, all right, supply goes to the sky. Easy way to remember. Supply goes to the sky. Supply goes up, right? It's got up in it. Demand is going to always slope downwards, right? Because again, what are we graphing? We're graphing price on the vertical. Easy way to remember, it's a vertical letter. Quantities thus up on the horizontal, because that's always what's in our supply schedule or demand schedule, and supply has to go to the sky. Again, as we move about this curve, right, you can notice the direct relationship. If price goes from 2 to 3, right, quantity supply is going to go from 20, you know, to 30, right? You can see it. So it's the same thing as demand. If price changes, right, nothing else happens, but just price of this good, if price of milk changes, we're always going to just move along our curve, right? We're not going to shift the curve unless something else, you know, crazy happens. But if just price alone changes, that's always going to change quantity supplied. A change in supply means the curve has to shift, change entirely. It's the same thing with demand. All right, so let's go through some of these potential shifters of supply. It says, what if there are new and more productive milking technology, right? Like you just hook the cow up and like you can get milk out of the cow much quicker, right? What would happen? Well, suppliers are going to be able to produce more milk quicker. And if there's more technology, it probably would, I would imagine, displace labor costs a little bit, right? It's gonna allow you know, milk producers, farmers, to be able to produce more milk. If they have a technology that will lower their production costs and allow them to make milk, you know, at a quicker rate, right? So now, if that was to happen here, right, this would cause a change in supply, not a change in quantity supplied, a change in supply, because at all prices now, as a result of having this new technology, milk producers are going to be able to produce more at all prices. They're going to be willing and able to produce more and bring more to market at different prices, right? Because now, you know, maybe instead of it, you know, it costing, you know, 50 cents to produce a unit of milk, maybe now it costs 25 cents to produce a unit of milk, right? So they're going to be willing to sell at lower prices because now the cost of production has now decreased. They can produce more milk. So again, just like demand, right? An increase, you always shift the curve to the right, right? Now we're talking about supply though. So we need a new supply curve, one that's sloping upwards. Make sure you label it as well. And an increase always has to be to the right. Again, because, you know, at a price of 3, there used to be 30 units brought to market. Now at a price of 3, we're going to bring 50 units to market. Graphically speaking, an increase in demand or supply is always a shift of that curve to the right. Mr. Moore is always right, more to the right, right? What if the price for dairy cows increases drastically, right? What would happen to supply? Well, if you're a milk producer, and obviously you need cows in order to produce milk, and now the price of cows goes up, right? Think about every producer has some sort of budget, right? Every producer has some sort of, amount of financial capital, amount of money. And they use that money to buy resources. And now if the price of your major resource, your dairy cow, goes up in price, you have so much financial capital, right? You're not going to be able to buy as many dairy cows if the price of a dairy cow goes up in price. So you're going to buy less dairy cows. If you have less dairy cows, you're not going to be able to produce as much milk, all right? So again, in this case, supply is going to decrease. And again, graphically speaking, that has to be a decrease, a shift to the left, okay? Because again, at a price of $3, we used to bring 30 units to market. Now we're only going to bring 10 units to market. It has to be a shift to the left. Less is left, more is right, okay? You got another scenario. It says, what if there's an increase in the number of milk producers, right? If we have more milk producers, think about just like with demand, right? Everyone's individual demand curve. And if we have more buyers that move into an area and move into a market, we're going to have more individual demand curves. You add those all together, we're going to have more market demand. It's going to cause an increase in demand. Same thing with supply, right? If we have all the milk producers right now, hold on, let me just get back to right? If all the milk producers are here right now, and collectively all the milk producers are willing and able to bring 30 units to market at a price of $3, and now we just have more milk producers, right? This number would have to increase because some milk producers' individual supply curve would probably have some sort of units brought to market at a price of 3 and at a price of 2 and at a price of 4, etc. Right? So more milk producers would cause more supply. It's pretty easy. Don't overthink it, right? Do not overthink it, right? So it would cause an increased supply. Well, it's not going to cause an increase in supply or a decrease in supply is this, right? What if there is an increase or a decrease in the price of milk? That will not cause a change in supply. That will cause a change in quantity supply, all right? Because at all prices, the willingness and ability to produce is still the same. It has not changed, right? Collectively, all these milk producers are willing to bring 30 units to market at a price of 3 and 40 units at a price of 4. It has not changed. If price changes, the price of milk changes, we're just going to go about moving along our curve to figure out, okay, what's going to be the new quantity of supply that's going to be brought to market, right? A change in supply means all prices. There's a change in the willingness and ability, in this case, to produce, if we're talking about supply, right? Sorry, again, I got to check again. Email's buzzing. Email's buzzing this morning. It's buzzing. All right, good. Cool. All right, cool. Back to what we got to do. All right, so that brings us to the shifters of supply. Now there was 5 shifters of demand, determinants of demand. Now there's going to be 6 for supply. And again, you can use this memory aid trices just like yesterday was merit, but going forward, you don't really have to know from the mafia. You don't have to know the shifters, right? At the end of the day, once we get to the place where we want to be, ultimately you just have to tell me what happens to supply. Does it increase or decrease? What happens to demand? Does it increase or decrease? And what happens to price and quantity in the market? But for now, at least on the problem set, I want you getting used to identifying the shifter. That way you're more familiar on, if a question is worded in such a way, right, this is the change, right, what's going to happen in the market, right? So the first shifter of supply, there's SpongeBob, is technology, right? And we've already done that one. Email's blowing up. More technology would have to mean more supply, right? If think about when we invented the assembly line, right? We're able to produce more at all prices. Any sort of technological advancement is going to allow producers to produce more, generally at lower costs. So more technology, more supply. Less technology, less supply. Can we have less technology, right? Maybe if we lose electricity or anything like that, right? But generally more technology, more supply. The next one's called related goods. And remember, related goods was also a shifter of demand. So if I ask you a related goods question, I will specify, analyze demand or analyze supply, okay? So it worked like this. Imagine you were a maybe most of you guys maybe produced lemonade when you were a kid, right? You made some lemonade and tried to make a buck, right, selling it to people on your street and whatnot. Imagine if you had two lemonades, right? You had a regular lemonade and you had a strawberry lemonade, and everyone wanted your strawberry lemonade, right? Like the first week, like the first day you're out there selling lemonade, everyone's buying strawberry lemonade. No one's really buying your regular lemonade, right? What's going to happen to supply for strawberry lemonade the next week, right? Well, what you're probably going to do is you're probably going to supply more strawberry lemonade, and you're probably going to supply less regular lemonade, right? Basically, what producers are always going to do is they're going to allocate more resources in the production of the more profitable good or service, right? It's just like Tyson, right? Tyson's like one of the leading, meat producers in the U.S. If everyone suddenly, doesn't really want to eat chicken any longer for whatever reason, and beef becomes more profitable, people are willing to pay higher prices for beef for whatever reason, Tyson is going to produce more beef, and they're going to produce less chicken, right? Producers are always going to produce the more expensive good, the good with the higher priced item. I got a sad chicken Tyson story. Oh no. Oh no. All right. Anyway, moving on. Right. So that's related goods. Right. Just whatever good is higher in price. Right. You're going to want to produce more of that good. You're going to allocate. You're going to move resources away from the production of the least profitable good into the more profitable good. Oh gosh, yeah. Have you guys ever seen like gosh, what's that show? It might be Super Size Me, but I think it was another one too. But like yeah, like chickens, right? Like they can't really move. Like throwing them into like the little shredders and stuff. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Then I made a chicken statue in Minecraft. Nice. All right. The third one is called inputs. Now, people, this is going to be the most common one that you're going to see. The most common one that would actually happen, in real life, right, would be a change in inputs. Now, inputs, you should know what the word inputs means, right? Inputs is a synonym for resources, right? Inputs, right? In other words, like it takes inputs to produce output, right? Like the inputs in my microphone is like steel and like plastic and like other metals and things like that, right? The inputs in my phone is like glass, metal, rubber case, etc., right? Inputs are resources. So if the price of a resource changes, that's obviously going to influence our supply, right? If I'm talking about, producing mugs and the price of the ceramic material goes up and I'm a mug producer, I'm not going to be able to produce as many mugs because I'm not going to be able to buy as much resources. Thus, I'm not going to be able to produce as many mugs. So if there's a change in the cost of production, if there's an increase in the cost of production, supply will decrease. It'll shift to the left. If there's a decrease in the cost of production, supply is going to have to increase and shift to the right. All right. And then also like a change in inputs, right? A change in resources could be just like losing resources or finding resources. Imagine if there's a huge like frost storm in Florida, right? There's a huge frost in Florida, and all oranges, like a bunch of oranges get like, messed up, right? They go bad. A bunch of oranges go bad because there's a huge frost storm. What's going to happen to the supply for orange juice? Well, obviously that would decrease. Less oranges means less supply of orange juice, right? Or what if we discover, a bunch of oil in the frozen tundra of Canada, right? Well, that's going to lead to more supply of oil, right? Pretty simple, I would suggest. But people, Mr. Moore's been doing this for years, right? If you're struggling, right, make sure you ask me some questions here, all right? The next one is called competition, right? It's kind of like market size with demand. Competition is just the number of sellers, right? More sellers, more supply. Less sellers, less supply. Would be pretty easy, right? If you're running a very profitable lemonade stand back in the day when you were a kid, right? And your neighbor's like, wow, look how profitable that person's lemonade stand is. I want to make some cash. I want to make some money too, right? Well, if they start producing more lemonade, what's going to happen to the supply of lemonade in your neighborhood? It would increase, right? Just more people making lemonade. There's going to be more supply at all prices of lemonade, right? Number 2 is expectations, which again, just like related goods was also a shifter of demand yesterday, expectations is the expectation of a future change in price, aka expectation of a future change in profit would be the case, right? So imagine if you are, what's a good example here? Well, imagine if you're like a gas station, right? And you sell, gasoline, right? And you know that next month gasoline is going to skyrocket in price, right? And you have gasoline at the current moment. What's going to happen to the supply in the current moment presently with gasoline? What are you going to do, right? Well, if I own and operate a gas station, I know that the price of gasoline is going to skyrocket next month. I'm gonna like close my shop down, right? I'm not going to produce any gasoline. I'm not going to sell any of my gasoline. I'm going to wait. I'm going to supply less, and then once price of gasoline goes up next month, then I'm going to supply my gasoline at a higher price, thus to make more profit, right? That's the idea. If you expect gasoline to decrease in price greatly next month, right, and you own a gas station, you're going to try to sell off all your gasoline today in the current moment. So if we expect price to go up in the future, we're going to cut back production, we're going to decrease supply in the moment. And then if we know that price is going to decrease in the future, we're going to produce more and sell more in the current moment, in the present moment, right? That's the idea of expectations of a change in price / a change in your profit. Last but not least is a change in government action, subsidies and taxes, right? So we all know what taxes are, right? Taxes are, when the government, takes away money from you, right? But I hope you guys know the purpose of taxes. We talked about that in Chapter 11, role of government, right? We need taxes to produce public goods and things of that nature. But a tax is money taken away, right? So if you're a business and you have to pay more taxes, that's essentially this one right here, right? An increase in the cost of production, right? If every time you make a pizza, you got to pay $1 to the government, it essentially costs you an additional $1 to make an additional pizza every time you make pizza, right? So more taxes would always lead to a decrease in supply. And then obviously if they're taxing you already and they lower taxes, right, then that would lead to an increase in supply. So whenever you get a question about taxes, right, make sure you read it. Are we increasing taxes or are we lowering taxes? If we're lowering taxes, it's going to cause an increase in supply. If we're increasing taxes, it's going to cause a decrease in supply, right? Subsidies is the opposite of a tax, and maybe most of us aren't familiar with the word subsidy. A subsidy is the opposite of a tax. A subsidy is when the government gives money to somebody, right? Generally a business, right? So generally farmers make subsidies, right? They receive subsidies from the government, right? The government wants to ensure, we still have farmers, right? Farmers are sort of, like the last of a dying breed, right? They're kind of, going away. Less people are going into farming. We want to make sure there's enough food produced in a given year. We want to keep food prices low, right? So generally the government subsidizes, farmers, right? So if the government increases subsidies, right, they give more money to farmers, that's going to lead to more supply, because essentially that's a decrease in the cost of production, right? If I'm a farmer and I get more money from the government, I'm going to be able to buy more resources, thus I'm going to be able to produce more, corn. If a farmer receives less subsidies, less money from the government, that's essentially an increase in the cost of production, right? Maybe if I was getting $100 for every, acre of corn that I produced, right, and now I get less, right, I'm not going to be able to produce as much corn. Oh, you're all good, Connor. You're all good, right? It happens. All right, so people, those are the 6 shifters of supply. And then I'm going to give you guys 2 little practice questions here, and we'll see how you did, right? We didn't do too well on these yesterday, right? Let's see if we've improved upon them a little bit, and we'll see how we do today. And then afterwards, we'll transition to Google Meet, and we'll knock out problem set 1.3. Okay? All right, so here we go. Number 1, which of the following will cause the quantity supplied for milk to decrease? All right? Notice I underlined quantity supplied. So, look at the ones that cause a shift. Which ones cause a shift in supply, a change in supply? Those would not be the right answers, right? This has to cause a change in quantity supplied. All right, where's my gurus at? Who knows this? Who knows these? Come on. Where's my gurus at? Let's see. Yeah, just know, people, if you're ever absent well, one, let me know. But if you're ever absent or again you sleep in late or anything like that, you guys can just go to the YouTube playlist. I made a playlist. It's called the Regular Econ, and just click there. I've been uploading more of these videos to that. I don't have a lot of videos from the first rotation. I gotta still put them on there, but all these supply and demand videos, you can always rewatch them if you need more help or you're absent or whatever. Okay. The answer definitely is C. Very good. Anthony kind of started us out there. Very good. And Alexis, Michael, Luke. The answer is C, right? A change in quantity demanded or a change in quantity supplied is always going to be caused by a change in price, right? Price changes, we're simply going to go to a different amount of quantity supplied or quantity demanded. In this case, the law of supply states that when price decreases, less is going to be brought to market. It's going to cause a quantity supplied for milk to decrease, right? So I want to give away, the next question, by going over the other answers here. Look what I'm going to do here, right? Everything's going to stay the same. Again, all the answers are going to stay the same. The only thing I'm going to change is I'm going to change quantity supplied to supply. All right? Quantity supplied to supply. Which of the following would cause supply for milk to decrease? So the curve, the shift to the left entirely, the curve to change entirely. Which of the following would cause milk supply to decrease entirely? Milk to decrease. The shift to the left. Less is going to be brought to market at all prices. Less milk is going to be brought to market at all prices. Right? Oh no, we're kind of all over the place with this one. All right, the answer here, people, would be B. The answer here would be B, all right? So which of the following is going to cause a leftward shift in our supply curve? The amount of milk at all prices to decrease. Well, if there's less milk producers, right, less is going to be brought to market at all prices. A would cause milk to increase, right? If the price of your dairy cows goes down, you're going to be able to buy more dairy cows, thus you're going to be able to supply more. Supply would increase. C and D would cause a change in quantity supply, not a change in supply. And then E, right, more subsidies for milk producers, that would cause milk to also increase because it would lower the cost of production, right? But again, people, this is difficult stuff, right? Supply and demand is probably going to be the most difficult concepts that we learned about in this class. So again, if you're struggling right now, don't feel embarrassed, right? It's not a big deal. You'll get better at it. The more we do it, the better you guys are going to get. I'm going to give you guys countless shifters of demand and supply. You guys are going to get really good at identifying what happens. All right, people, go ahead, take your 5-minute break if you need to do so. I'll see you guys at 9:45. If you want to jump into Google Meet right away, you certainly can. I'm going to post problem set 1.3. It's very, very similar to problem set 1.2, but obviously we're going to be analyzing supply instead of demand. So yeah, I'll see you guys in Google Meet.